fucking, it's just ridiculous.
Very
It's
true.
always something. And how about these Giants? Like, stop making excuses for him. He's a grown man. Like, can we hold him accountable for his actions at all? There's a list of things with this guy, like a fucking list, a laundry list, and he's on his rookie contract. And I don't see how anyone could debate that.
Well, as far as the laundry list, I mean, it matters what you care about. You know, if you want him to back like 100% professional, obviously he hasn't done that.
I just want him to stay out of the fucking. Just stop being a circus. Like we have said this before.
Granted, I'm not going to say that it is part of his fault, but that's not all his fault. He gets followed around nonstop. As far as cameras are always on him.
And when the cameras are always on you, I mean, don't you at a certain point have to have a little discipline? Like, don't you at some point have to keep yourself out of that situation? Like, you have to realize, okay, this is going to be a shitstorm for the franchise, and I have to keep myself out of this situation. Like, they have cocaine. And can we stop with we don't know what that white powder is? I mean, can we stop with it's superimposed? Like, they superimposed OBJ. Like, that's not him. It's a clone. Like, what? There's not some conspiracy theorists out there that are trying to incriminate Odell Beckham Jr. He's dumb for putting himself in these situations. When you see cocaine in the room, leave.
Supposedly,
you want to go smoke a blunt with two of your boys in a room that nobody knows about? I don't care. But when it gets out, you want to go to Miami? I don't care. But you can't put with the world we live in. You can't put it on. You have to be a little more disciplined than this. This cannot be. This isn't a free for all. You represent the Giants' colors. You have to act a certain way.
And I agree.
And by the way, I think we're streaming. So let's actually get this thing started off right, Timmy. So
all right, let's start it off.
Let's. I don't know where Justin
live
is.
Apparently,
with the time switch now, with the moving the hours, Justin, I don't know where he is. So he thinks it's his Sabbath. I guess he doesn't have to work on Sundays. So here we go.
Welcome to the Bleed Big Blue podcast, dedicated coverage of the New York Football Giants by your hosts, Marco, Trifecta, T. Merritt, and JBW.
Good Sunday morning, Giants Nation, and what is there to talk about the day before free agency? I got Timmy with me. Marco got us streaming. He's with the family today. Yep. Justin, MIA. Justin probably had a long night. For everybody who's listening out there, when, it's usually Marco, myself, Tim, and we have Justin on with us. Justin's the party animal. Okay, Justin is the guy that's out all night, partying it up. So he's probably a little hungover this morning. So maybe he gets to call in a little later. Tim, how you feeling Sunday morning?
I'm doing good, man. And, using your words, we're coming to you live on a Sunday morning.
Coming to you live on a Sunday morning. It's a beautiful thing. Day before free agency, and usually, right, we'd be talking about free agency, the draft, but surprise, OBJ is having a good time again.
The one thing I got to say, even, granted, if you've seen any of James' comments, he's very disappointed in Odell.
Yeah.
But I just want to go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm very. Disappointed is an understatement. Embarrassed, disappointed. I'm not going to make excuses for the guy. Like, hold him accountable. Like, stop making like the whole fan base. Like, are we Giants fans or are we Odell Beckham Jr. fans? Because Giant fans would have a problem with this. And I'm not saying that they have to cut him, but recognize that this is a problem. This isn't the first time. If this was the first time, if this was a hiccup, different conversation. But do we really have to go through the laundry list of things with this guy, Tim?
Well, like we discussed yesterday, I mean, some people aren't privy to our message board that goes on every day. I think the Brad Wing getting cut, which is one of Odell's best friends, and is represented by Odell's agent as well. That was a message to Odell.
Yeah, I don't know.
One, it needs to happen anyway. This Brad Wing, guess what? After last year, you're a punter. You need to get cut regardless. But that was definitely a message to Odell as well.
I don't know about. I don't know about all. I don't know about all that. Like, I don't know how they feel about Wing. It could be, they share the same agent. But how about? Hello, caller. Where you calling from?
Calling from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, home of the Amish.
Wow. The diva
Somebody
showed
just
up on
rolled out of
Sunday?
bed. Somebody's got bedhead.
Wow.
He's got a cup of coffee. Do you even have your coffee yet, Justin?
No, I literally just woke up. I got your lewd text message about Demi Lovato, and then I was like, oh, shit, I got to call in.
Yes. Yeah, so let's. I know Justin's a party animal on the weekend, so we really haven't heard that much from Justin.
Justin, I know. Sunday with us? Is this your first Sunday with us?
This is the first Sunday. He's a Sunday virgin.
It might be.
Yeah, he's a Sunday virgin.
First Sunday morning.
Yep.
This is like the 1A show, Justin. This is we're a lot calmer on a Sunday morning. We're able to actually discuss things. OBJ video. Go. I mean, I know you're a huge fan of his. I want to hear from you.
The most disturbing thing for me is that, so it came out Friday night, right? So Saturday morning, this is how I wake up. My wife wakes me up and she's like, I hear the video playing. Like, I wake up to the video. And my wife says,
I'm trying to get you to have sex with.
Yeah. So I'm like, what's going on? And my wife's like, yep, that's Coke. And then she's like, he's in trouble. And I was like, uh-huh. So, like, it's disappointing because he should know better, right?
Yeah, I mean, really.
Like,
yes.
even if this was years ago, the fact that nobody sat him down, right? He comes from an affluent family in the sense that his dad played basketball at LSU with Shaq. His mom is an Olympic caliber sprinter, right? So these are people that, they've been in this world. So, but the fact that, and maybe they have, and maybe he's just an idiot and he doesn't listen, but the fact that either he hasn't had that conversation about this is your life now in New York City and this is the decorum and the way that you need to behave to make sure that you don't put yourself in a situation where you can get extorted. The fact that conversation wasn't had or was had and ignored tells you everything that you need to know about Odell Beckham and the way that he views his status with the team, his role with the team, and his job.
And well, here's another way to look at it. Like, who gives a shit when it happened?
Right.
So, like,
exactly.
either it happened Friday night on the spot live, and all this stuff happened that we know beforehand, and then he did this, or this happened previously, and then, put whatever date on it, I'm going to pretty much guarantee there's been something that's happened after the fact. So all it proves is that either it's still going on or that it was going on for a long period of time. And I'm not saying that he was doing drugs and Justin, I don't know if you heard me when you came in. Like, he wants to go into a room with two of his boys and smoke a blunt. God bless. Right? I mean, my thing is being dumb enough to put yourself in a situation where now the whole franchise is on blast. And when Coke is in the room, just leave. Just leave. You're Odell Beckham Jr.
Why does everything have to get recorded?
Here's my concern. Here's. Do you want to know a legit concern that I have?
Like, everything's got to get recorded.
Well, here's a legit concern.
Your life.
Well, he obviously didn't know that he was being recorded, right? So here's my thing, right? And this is something that I've heard no one bring up. And I'm not. And again, we don't know what happened. All right, we're just disappointed in the fact that he was in the situation, and now it's viral, and everyone knows about it, and the franchise looks like a bunch of idiots while they're on the hook trying to have a contract extension conversation with this guy. But here's the aspect that no one's bringing up. Okay, why was that 9 seconds recorded? And when you look at the clip, it shows the girl cutting up the Coke. It flashes to him. It flashes back to the Coke. Okay, but what does he say in that short clip? I'm trying to get you to have sex with him, right? How long was that conversation going on? And was the video taken as more as look at this fucking guy trying to coerce this woman into having sex with his friend? And with the whole woman thing going on right now and how women are being treated, I don't know what's going to come out, but it's here's the thing. Some are going to say, oh, my God, how can you even ask that question? Well, on the flip side of the coin, if you take a step back and you're not a Giants fan that blowing this guy, and you could just look at this from an objective point of view, it's a legitimate question to ask, is it not? I mean, just from an outsider perspective, when you look at the whole thing, is that not a reasonable question to pose?
Yeah. It's a reasonable question. It's fine, but obviously she's extorting money.
Here's the thing.
Honest.
It's just another thing that may be nothing, but may be something. And I read an article, and I forgot who wrote it. The guy .com, Popper, maybe his name is. I got to look for it on Twitter. But he says just that. And in the article, I thought he did a good job of saying. Pretty much that OBJ has done a lot of stuff that's been a lot of nothing, but is still something. Like, he hasn't really done anything wrong, but it's always something. And now the new regime has to deal with this right away. Right away. The night before free agency.
Right, and we're not in a situation. We're not in a situation where, I mean, now he's been through 3 head coaches with this shit, and he hasn't even played a game for Pat Shurmur yet. You know, with Coughlin, I think Coughlin let a lot of stuff slide because Coughlin was trying to save his job, and Odell Beckham had the talent to be able to allow him to do so, right? McAdoo, as it turns out, had no control. And now Shurmur hasn't even played a game yet, right? He hasn't even coached a game yet, so Shurmur's got to be asking himself, is this kid even worth it? You know, we've had discussions, I know that I've said on the show, over the course of time that because Odell Beckham was our most talented player, that by default he was a leader because guys on the team would look up to him. And I formally retract that statement this morning. He's not a leader, and anybody that's in that locker room, coaching staff, front office staff, players, they've got to handle their own business and just let Odell do his own thing. And that's scary because the NFL is a team sport. And when you have players that are sort of one-offs and are operating on their own, in their own world, those are the guys that can derail an organization. And, it makes you wonder what Odell's contributed to in terms of the mess that we've become.
Hey, and here, and we just got a comment, and I don't know if you guys are able to maybe pull up the YouTube feed and maybe look at the comments that are on there, because we got a lot of people commenting on there. I'm on Facebook now. Brandon Arrigo commented, he said, let's be honest. G-Men would be in trouble without him. I mean, have we really been that good with him?
Right.
I get it, and I totally get it. We've always said that the only person that can stop Odell Beckham Jr. is Odell Beckham.
Let's be honest. G-Men would be in trouble without him.
Well, so somebody cue it down.
No, yeah, that was me. My bad.
All right. Well, just look at the. You know what, Tim? Just keep it on mute, but monitor the. Was that on Facebook or YouTube?
It was on YouTube.
All right, so you stay on YouTube with the comments there, and if anybody says anything or has a question, if you want to call in, 516-453-9383. The call-in number is 516-453-9383 on a Sunday morning. Good morning, Jody. What's up, buddy? But back to Brandon's comments, let's be honest, would we be in trouble without him? It depends, man. Now here's the thing. I think that his trade value is if I'm another GM right now and Gettleman calls me, I'd pretty much laugh a little bit because I have to re-sign him and I got to deal with all this shit too. So I'm not really willing to give up a ton for him. So the Giants are in a really difficult spot. They might not be in any spot besides having to bring him back, even if they wanted to get rid of him. How does this affect the extension and the numbers? That's another conversation. But when you talk about would they be in trouble without him, I don't really know that. If you really want to be honest, how many games has he won? And in the year they went to the playoffs, he was part of an offense that failed to score 20 points in the last 6 games of the season. And on the first 2 drives of said playoff game, he dropped 2 passes, one of them being a touchdown that left 10 points on the board. One was a third down conversion on the first drive, which at least would have put them in field goal range, and the other was in the end zone. So, I get it. From a talent perspective, one would think, right? But let me throw this at you. The year that the Giants lost Tiki Barber, they won the Super Bowl. So, I don't know. I think it's 50-50.
Well, here's the problem with especially in our offense now.
I'm going to let Tim go first.
Here's the deal. Odell's at least worth 1 touchdown a game. At least.
Has he scored 16 touchdowns in the season?
Pretty damn close if he hasn't.
All right, well, has he, though? Over the course of his career, has he scored 1 touchdown a game? He's not a 1 touchdown a game guy. Stop. You can't say that. He's not. He hasn't put up 16 touchdowns. He's put up 16 touchdowns?
He's worth 7 points a game. I would say so. He's worth at least a touchdown a game. Whether he's the one scoring us,
whether
the touchdown or
he's
he's the
scoring
one
or
getting this
Are
down
you
there.
adding in the 15 yards worth of field position for when he like does something stupid and how that like can affect the game too? Like, is that part of the
that's
equation?
usually after we score. That's after we score. That's fine.
Okay, we got a call calling in.
I'm not one of these people that cared about the peeing on the the dog
We
peeing
got somebody
celebration.
Call in. Are you ready? 201, lower your radio. If we're gonna we got no problem putting you on. We didn't hang up on you. You're on mute. We want to hear from you. Try to get him again.
Where the hell is the comment?
201, you there? Are you there?
Yes.
All right.
what's up?
Lower your radio, boss.
Hi,
There you go. What's your name? What do you want to talk about?
my name's Max, and I just want to talk about, like, what do you think about all, like, the Browns moves, and, like, how do you think they're going to impact the Giants in the draft?
That's a great question. Let me ask you, because I've been arguing with people about this since the Browns traded Kaiser and acquired Tyrod Taylor. How do you think it's going to go? If you were the Browns, what would you do? I'll tell you what I would do.
Well,
You tell me first.
Well, the Browns, like, I would either, like, get a quarterback, like, to learn behind Tyrod Taylor, or to get Saquon Barkley.
Well, what would you do?
Browns.
Because you have the first pick in the draft. You have to do one or the other first. What would it be?
One or the other. Well, like, if I was the Giants, I would trade down and get more picks. But if I were the Browns, I would, like, probably take Saquon Barkley.
And you know what? And we're not going to let you go. Thanks for the call. You're still on. We'll bring you back on in a little bit if you want to listen. I think that's a huge mistake. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I've seen a lot of people that as soon as they acquired Tyrod Taylor, that they said, oh, that's it. They're taking Barkley. I don't think that's what that signals at all.
No,
Like,
100% with you, James.
I mean,
100% with you.
If I'm the Browns, I mean, you're going to run the court. I think you guys, first of all, some things I want to say about Barkley. Guys, you do know one of his big weaknesses is that he does not run through the tackles. Like, you guys realize that, right? Like that, is that a realization for everyone saying take this kid first, second, third? Like, he doesn't run a lot or well between the tackles. Are you going to tell me Penn State had a weak offensive line? He doesn't run well between the tackles. So you're taking a kid that I think it's really dumb to take Barkley at 1. I think it's really stupid to take Barkley at 2. I think he's a really good player, but at that value, the quarterback is so much more important. Now, I'm the Cleveland Browns. Yes, I have that 4th pick. If I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm trying to use that 4th pick to trade up with the Giants to move up to try to get Saquon Barkley there. But at 1, I am not messing around with that pick. What if you take Saquon? What if you like Darnold better than Allen or Mayfield or Rosen? And you say to yourself, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take Barkley first and outsmart everybody and then get my quarterback at 4. You're assuming, of course, that the Giants and the Colts are going to keep their picks. What if they don't? So you take Barkley 1, pick a guy, whichever guy you want, Darnold, Allen, Rosen, you want that guy. You think he's going to get to 4. What if Denver or the Jets trade up to 3 and take him out and from front? Now you're settling on the most important position because of the running back? No. You take the quarterback 1 and you try to use your other picks to move up if you want Barkley that bad. And if you can't do that, then you sit at 4 and you take Quentin Nelson, or you take Fitzpatrick, or you take Chubb, or you take someone else to that ilk. But you get the quarterback. Because Tyrod Taylor has 1 year on his contract. He's not exactly Mr. Durability. So he's a stopgap. He's not the answer. I mean, am I crazy?
No, you're absolutely right. He's a whatever they call a bridge quarterback. The one thing that we're talking about, like last year, playing Mike Glennon, all the money they did in Chicago. Granted, we didn't realize it then, but it was literally just to get to the next year with Trubisky. And that's exactly what they're doing with Tyrod Taylor. I think he's got 1 year left. Supposedly they're working on his contract, but who knows? Cleveland has plenty of cap room anyway. And Tyrod Taylor just means they're getting a quarterback. They're definitely drafting a quarterback. There's no way he's
so, right? And what do you think? To me, when they made that move, the first name I thought of was Darnold.
Yep. That's what I'm hoping is not the case. I'm hoping Darnold drops to us. Or I've heard other theories where Browns do take Barkley at 1, but take Josh Allen at 4. But just like you said, if you want to start a quarterback, you better grab him.
You got to get him. I mean,
you don't know if he's going to be there or not.
You can make argument. You can make a really legit argument that both 2 and 3 don't need quarterbacks and would be open to moving back, especially if you take Barkley and all of them are still on the board. So you run the risk of getting Barkley and then having the quarterback that you want taken right out from under you. And you can go ahead and trade your fourth pick and a couple of other picks to move up to 2 and get that. But at that point, why would you do that?
The more I'm looking at this draft.
Am I fucking insane? Like, why would, if you're the Browns, if you're Dorsey, the same guy, mind you, that traded up last year in Kansas City and got Mahomes while he still had Alex Smith on his roster, why would you not get the quarterback right then and there? And Alex Smith is better than Tyrod Taylor, gents. Right or wrong?
And here's another thing, too. Like, you got to remember, and when I say we, I mean, like, society that's not hooked in. So, like, people that are talking about this in sort of a bubble, right, on the internet and on Facebook and on social media, I think that Tyrod Taylor is a better fantasy quarterback than an actual quarterback. And that's an important distinction here because I'm not sure you can win a lot of football games playing football the way that Tyrod Taylor plays football. He's a great veteran quarterback to stabilize you while you figure some things out. But
yes,
Tyrod Taylor's not the future in Cleveland.
No.
Now they've acquired some pieces that are going to allow them to be competitive now. They're tired of being a laughingstock, but they still need that franchise quarterback that they can rest on for a decade and say, okay, here's the keys to the Cadillac, kid. Let's see how fast you can rev it up, right?
Yes.
And so that will happen. I mean, they're going to get a quarterback. I hope that they take Saquon Barkley first, because if they do, that means second-round pick. That means that second overall pick is the most valuable pick in the draft, and the Giants have it, and the Buffalo Bills don't have a quarterback. And
yeah, and I think that would be the best case scenario. Like, I'm cheering for them to take Barkley for 2 reasons. 1, it gives us the key to the draft. 2, it means we don't draft Barkley. I said it.
Yeah, well, no, you're absolutely right. James, you already know we're on the same level as far as that. Take the quarterback or trade back.
That's it. That's it. And if they take Barkley at 1, they did you a favor. But I would not bet the house that they are taking Barkley at 1. It just doesn't add up. You know, you look at what Dorsey did last year in Kansas City, and you look at the situation now, and you look at the guys that are coming out. Now, I'll tell you this. Where it gets tricky here is you don't – now, again, but it's a roll of the dice, right? So let's say they like Mayfield more than they like anybody else. Like, to me, if that's the case, you take Mayfield first. And that may shock everybody.
There's no guarantee anybody's going to be there.
But, yeah, you're not guaranteed that he's going to be there at 4. You would assume that he's going to be there at 4, but you don't know if Denver loves him or the Jets love him and they're willing to move up to 3 to get him. So you really have to take that into consideration. Unless you can go into the draft knowing that you have a deal with the Giants for the 2nd pick overall, there's no way that you can do that. You have to bite the bullet, let everybody laugh at you, and go in knowing, hey, we got our guy. If it's Mayfield, if it's Allen, if it's Darnold, if it's Rosen, you got to get the quarterback.
Right. No, 100%. Because the fact is, let's say you can miss, okay, they didn't take Barkley 1. Barkley gets taken and they miss on him. They can make up for that later in the draft. You miss on the quarterback, you aren't making up for that later in the draft.
100%. 100%. If the Giants end up taking Barkley, if you're Cleveland and the Giants end up taking Barkley, you say to yourself, okay, well, that sucks. We have our quarterback. Okay, now we can go ahead in the 2nd round with our plethora of picks, and we can get a running back there to pair with Duke Johnson. Let's remember the 2 teams in the Super Bowl this year were running back by committee.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, let's try to take that in consideration. You know, how many Super Bowls did Adrian Peterson win? I mean, you know,
Very true.
The quarterback is by far the most important position on a football team. And when you have an opportunity to get one of these guys, I don't think that you can risk throwing that out there and saying, okay, we have number 4, we'll get somebody. You got to get the guy you want.
It's an interesting scenario because we don't have to look too far in the past to see what can happen when there's information out about what you may or may not do and how that affects your draft position. You know, the Giants a few years ago were enamored with the linebacker Floyd, who went to Georgia, I believe, and ended up being picked by the Bears. Okay,
right ahead of him,
right
up in front, right?
They were enamored with him the year that they ended up taking Eli Apple, and that information got out because there's always leaks in the system, and Jerry Reed's always, you know, it was always known what position of need he was targeting. And that got out, and the Bears jumped in front of us and made the pick, and then we were left scrambling, and we ended up taking Eli Apple, who has been a horror show because he's Eli Apple. So, you know, saying that the fourth overall pick is leverage, meaning that they could do whatever they wanted with the first overall pick, that's a tough road to go down because
it's dangerous.
You know, there's not one pick between the 2 picks. There's 2 picks between the 2 picks. So that gives teams 2 chances to move up and rain on your parade. So if you have, you grade out every player, right? Every single player. So if the Browns have a quarterback that is head and shoulders above the rest that they believe in, that's the guy that they're taking at 1. Or I shouldn't say it is the guy. That should be the guy that they take at 1. If they're thinking about it correctly. But, who knows? I do think that Buffalo trading Tyrod Taylor as an interesting wrinkle for the Giants because I'm not sure. The way that Gettleman's behaved the last 2 weeks, I don't know. He might just be a riverboat gambler, and he might be thinking, well, I'm gonna set us up so that I can make it my team and put my stamp on it. And what better way to set yourself up for overhauling the roster than getting a boatload of picks for number 2 overall? Whether the Browns take a quarterback at 1 or not, the Bills still don't have a quarterback. I mean, Peterman, their rookie that they took last year, he threw 5 interceptions and a half against the Chargers. I don't think that they're excited to turn over the keys to that kid. So,
well, I'll tell you what's an interesting scenario. If I'm Dorsey in Cleveland, I'm on the phone with Gettleman because if the rumors are right that the Giants are not interested in a quarterback, and because they have Davis Webb, and I'm Dorsey. See, these Giant fans, and Justin, I'm so happy you used that word. They live in this giant bubble that everything is the Giants, and the Giants going to get this guy, and the only fucking team in the league is the Giants, right? If I'm Dorsey and I'm looking at the situation, I'm on the phone with Gettleman, and I'm like, hey, Dave, guess what? I'm taking Barkley 1. What do you want for the number 2 pick? I'll give you 4. I'll give you a second because I know the Giants aren't taking a QB. So unless I can go in, I'd play a game of chicken with Gettleman like no one has ever seen before with Barkley. Right up to the last second of the draft, right up to the last second I was on the clock. And I would say, Dave, I'm taking Barkley. I'm taking Barkley. So you're not getting him. So what do you want for number 2? Because I know you don't want a QB because you have Davis Webb, right? And if you look at it from a Cleveland perspective, why wouldn't you do that? Is that not a genius fucking move? Dave, I'm taking Barkley. You're not getting him. Give me number 2.
I have seen that scenario.
And then you get Barkley.
Giants trade down the 4.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I've also seen it where the same scenarios, because Giants don't need a quarterback, supposedly, they trade that 4.
Well, that's the $1 million question. It's the
they trade that 4 to Buffalo. Then you
have what does Gettleman think we need? Is Gettleman of the mindset that he's taking the quarterback because Accorsi's in his ear, supposedly, and you know how much Accorsi loves quarterbacks and the chance to get one? Or do they really think Davis Webb is the guy? It's the $1 million question. And it really determines everything. Because if that's the case, right, and Dorsey calls you and you don't think that Webb is your guy, you would tell Dorsey, fucking take him.
True.
Right? Because then
I'm going to tell you right now.
Because then you turn around the game of chicken and you go, take him. Because I got then that's the guy I want is sitting right in front of me. We got somebody calling in from 770, and we got a question from Jeff on Facebook that I want to get to too. But let's get to the caller first. 770, where you calling from? What's your name? What do you want to talk about?
What's up, fellas? It's Big O from Atlanta, Florida, man. Atlanta, Georgia. Sorry, got my states wrong. Atlanta,
You
Georgia,
got it.
man. But
It's Sunday morning.
I love you guys, man. I like when you talk, man. You keep it raw and wake people up to reality, man. It's not just the fucking Giants that exist in the league, man. I hate fans like that, man. Just think everything is going to go the damn Giants' way. It's not going to go like that. But I like the views you said about what Cleveland should do. But what we're doing, you got to know draft is like a bluff game. It's like a chess game. What these owners are saying is not really what they're doing. They got to bluff you. Like the Giants need to talk quarterbacks to get teams that really wants a quarterback to start talking this trade talk. I'm
100%.
thinking, man, the Giants might be in a position where they can trade down twice and build up a lot of draft picks, man. I'm seeing because that number 2 spot is gold. They're sitting golden right now. They're not going to pick draft. They're not going to draft Saquon. They just got to make it look like they want this dude. They can't. That'll be the dumbest move you do. You should not go for that dude right now because you got so many holes, and you can fix these holes with this draft. Because right now Buffalo is talking a good game, and I'm coming on. If Buffalo is going to give up the ranch, you'll be stupid not to take that, you know. But I was thinking maybe the Jets might want to draft up, might want to move up, and we move to 6, and we can still get Buffalo to want to move up to 6 and get their quarterback. I mean, I don't see the Giants sitting at 2 and picking a running back. If anything, if you ask me, if they had to make a pick at 2 and nobody's offering anything, I'll go with Nelson. I'll go with the solidified